what we've done now is we're centering the cutting head for this particular vehicle just by loosening this knob, bringing it in if it's a very, very small vehicle, bringing it out if we were doing a larger truck. In this case, we're right here, and so now I'm locked down and ready. The other thing I want to do is, right here I have a safety shutoff for the machine. If I turn this machine on, right here you can see, here's the safety shutoff. If I hit that shutoff, the machine shuts down. And I'm going to move this little cam so that after I cut, when I get to this position, this cam is about to shut the machine down before this comes out and does some damage. Not so important here because we have such a large wheel well, but on some vehicles the wheel well will be here, and you want to set this so that it'll stop before it could damage the vehicle or the brake lift. So now I'm going to turn the machine on, and if everything was flat and square, then however much movement we had in the hub, the machine would move that much. But everything is not flat and square. Right here we have a movable plate. And every time you hook this machine up, even if you can't see it wobbling in such an exaggerated manner, you're going to hit the start button and allow the machine, you'll hear the clicking sound. What it's doing is it's adjusting that plate, the angle of that plate, and it's measuring lateral motion in the machine. It will eliminate that lateral motion down to 1/1000th of an inch. And once it does, it'll give us the green light and let us make the cut. Okay? And so we'll still see motion in the machine this way, but motion in this direction has been brought down now to 0.6 thousandths of an inch. That's 0.006 inches of lateral motion in this machine. And so now when we cut, we'll also have a fraction of a thousandth of an inch. 3 thousandths is a hair's width. We're going to have a fraction of 1/1000th of an inch of motion on this when we're done. And that's what you can't do with the bench lathe or replacing the discs. And as you saw with this machine, it's fully automated. You just hit the start button and it does it itself. There's other people with this kind of machines. Some of them even have a computer, but the computer guides you through a complicated procedure. With this one, you hit the start button and you wait for that green light. When it gives you the green light, you go ahead and make the cut. We have typical twin cutters like any other lathe, so I loosen here so that I can adjust the knobs. This right here is the advance for the machine. So I'm going to advance it in. Actually, I'm going to shut it off for a second because it was just built, it's like it's set up to do a giant dump truck or something. So it's a little faster for me to do this by turning it off first and spinning these in more quickly. Okay, and now I'm going to bring this in first until it barely touches, and then until it's cutting a full circle. Okay, it's telling me something here. Okay, you notice that at first it's just touching in one spot, and I know it's moving back and forth a tiny fraction of a hair's width. So what's it telling us? It's telling us that that disc is moving back and forth. Okay, so I bring it in like I just showed you until it's cutting full circle, and then I always index it out. I index it out a full turn, so I look for a number. There's a number 1 right there, and I loosen it a full turn, so that number 1 comes around to there. Same thing on the inside, where I'll bring it in until I can hear it skim. Now I'll hear it go all the way around, which it is now. Oh, it's a 0 right on top. Doesn't matter what number it is. In this case, it's a 0. Bring it right around, a full turn. I'm indexing it out so that right now as I advance it in, I'm not dragging across this hardened surface and burning up my cutting tips for no good reason. So I'm going to bring it in. I'll visually take a look to see if there's anything that feels like a low spot. If anything feels low on this one, it's kind of towards the middle. So I might even just double check as that part looks low. Make sure that if I do my full turn, if I did my full turn to 1, well, it doesn't even need a full turn. So that's still my high point. So I'm going to bring it in. I'm going to advance it in well below where the thing would ever cut. But right now is one of the only times I'm paying strict attention to what I'm doing. And the reason I'm paying strict attention is because if I advance this too far until it bumps there, then I could damage the machine. So right now I'm being very careful to go in as far as I need to, but not so far that I bump it. okay? And now that I'm in the middle here, I'm gonna cut, and what I wanna do is I wanna cut a couple thousandths of an inch below that line, but that line is a full turn in from where I am right now. I indexed it out. So now I gotta do a full turn plus my couple of thousandths of an inch. So on both sides, what I'm gonna do is, there's my 0, I'm gonna do a full turn plus 2 notches. Same thing here. Can you see the numbers on the video?
Mm-hmm.
There's the 1, I've gotta go full turn. So there's the 1, and then 1 notch, 2 notches. And then this is the top knob that clamps on these cutting arms. And this one, that's really the only thing on the machine where tight is right. You've seen I've been advancing the machine using this button over here. Now, if I do this, it engages the automatic feed. And now we've got probably a 4-minute cut. We use this clip type silencer. This does 2 things. Right now you can see that the chips from this are flying all around. When I install this, it's going to do 2 things. It's going to send those chips so that hopefully most of them land down in this tray. It's also going to provide a little bit of dampening and keep that disc from wanting to vibrate at its natural frequency. So that's the entire procedure. And as you guys can tell, I run my mouth a lot, so it takes me a long time. But what did we really do? We hooked up the adapter, bolted it on, screwed this on, click, 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 and then we set our cut, and it's maybe a 4-minute cut, and we'll be done. We only do 1 pass on every disc.
1 pass.
If I do 20 discs, I bet on 1 out of 20, I missed a spot, you know, because I wasn't careful enough as I set my depth, and then I have to go and make a second pass. But most of the time, I'm only making 1 pass. In this case, you'll be able to see by the size of these chips that on the inboard part of this roller, I'm actually making a very deep cut. When I get out to where I made my adjustment, I'm only going to be cutting a couple of thousandths below that. But the disc was misshapen. And so I'm actually making a very deep cut right now. And if I put my hand in there in another minute when it's out here, you'll see that there's some very small chips coming out. I should have this running right up here a little bit. There it goes.